Hello, good afternoon. It is September and it feels like fall out there today. And I'm here by myself for the time being. Michelle, unfortunately, isn't able to join us today, but I'm very excited to have our guest, Jane Gourley Davis, join us. She is somebody who has been nominated for the Truro Famous Award lots of times in the past, and I won't say any more really because I'll let her do the talking. I'm going to bring her on. Come on, Jane.
Hi.
Hello. How
Great
are
to be
you?
here. Wonderful. Thank you.
It's so great to have you here, and I feel like I could pick your brain for a long time, Jane. So hopefully we'll be able to contain it to our scheduled time frame.
Sure.
So, Jane, maybe for anyone who's watching who doesn't necessarily know who you are, maybe just if you have just a quick, well, I'm going to say bio, but a quick little intro.
Sure. So I'm Jane. I'm a lawyer. I am a lawyer in town at Patterson Law. I practice in real estate. So real estate and also personal solicitor stuff. So wills and estates, helping people with those things. Generally, for the most part, happy law, we would say. So not dealing with a whole lot of lawsuits, people hating each other, those sorts of things. So I try and stay away from that as much as I can. Certainly respect those who do it, but that's not really my favorite area. So I really do enjoy real estate law. That's what I do primarily. And I live right in the downtown core with my family. So I have 3 kids and a husband, and really enjoy Truro. And I mean, maybe you want to lead into this, but part of the reason I started my social media page was to showcase some of the properties in Truro. So it means so much to me when I can help somebody move into their first home. That's really exciting when you get first-time home buyers.
Yes.
And they come in and they look like they're about 12 and you're like, wow, I can't believe you're buying a house. This is amazing. Truro lets people do that, right? Like it's affordable. It's got a lot of options for people, especially young people. So I really enjoy that part of my job. And I just wanted to be able to share that with people in a way that wasn't all about me, because I'm not really comfortable, despite being here, talking about myself.
Yes, for the next 40 minutes, you may be uncomfortable. I'll just put
Right.
that out there. But in talking to you, we'll also be talking about Truro and the things that you love about it. So,
Right.
and it's a good point to mention your page because, and your handle is Truro Real Estate Law. Is that right?
Yeah, so it's Truro Real Estate Law on Instagram, and it's Jane Gourley Davis, lawyer, real estate wills, very long, on Facebook.
And I love following along with your page particularly on Instagram, only because I'm a very I prefer Instagram to Facebook. It's such a visual site,
Yeah.
or platform, whatever you want to call it. And you showcase some of the most beautiful buildings in Truro. And I guess my question for you is, where did that start for you? Like what made you decide to highlight these amazing places? And I guess maybe we'll just start with that.
Yeah, so I didn't grow up here. I grew up on the west coast of Newfoundland in a town called Corner Brook, which was a great place to grow up. Not that different from Truro in terms of size and opportunity, but certainly didn't have the heritage that Nova Scotia has and Truro has. So I appreciated real estate there. Specifically, there's like one part of town, Andrew Cobb is, it was called Cobb Lane, and he lived there. And he's also an architecture who designed the Birchall McDougall PwC building. So
Oh.
yeah, so I always appreciated the architecture, real estate, different types, and obviously beautiful homes. I love people's homes. When I go to their house, I really kind of love it if people will give me a tour. So just people, so you know, I will be asking. But when I moved to Truro, so my parents moved here when I finished high school. I was blown away. Like, and then I went to Acadia for university, and then Dal. But I was blown away by the heritage properties and how beautiful the homes are, and the homes, and also the civic buildings,
Yes.
the public spaces, that kind of stuff. So, and I lived in Wolfville for a while. Wolfville is super,
Oh,
super beautiful.
I love
I
Wolfville.
mean, just gorgeous homes. And Wolfville's really proud of Wolfville, right? Like Wolfville, they have a lot of pride. And
Yeah.
then lived in Halifax, same kind of thing, very, very Halifax centric and stuff. And then moved here and started practicing law, and was like, oh, it's funny. Truro doesn't have as much sort of, like people in Truro are just like, oh yeah, it's Truro, it's fine, it's the hub, la la la. But I
Yeah.
was like, man, guys, like this place is amazing. So that was the reason. I just wanted to be like, I think we need to show this off a bit more. I think we need to, stop and look at the places that we're walking by every day or driving by every day.
Yeah.
And there's so many really neat stories too. And I find that really interesting. You talk about famous people who are from Truro or lived here, and why the houses are the way they are, the different styles. There's so many types of architecture in Truro. A lot of Queen Anne revival, a lot of
Yeah.
Italianate, a lot of cottages. People love those houses so much. The smaller, sort of really quaint
Yeah.
little places. So yeah, that was, and I mean, initially when I started it, I was doing 2 posts a week, which was intense. I haven't been able to keep that up lately because things are really busy on the real estate market. And I was doing single family homes, multi-unit residential, public spaces, and commercial properties. So we've kind of exhausted a lot of the multi unit residentials. So now it's a lot of just single family homes and stuff. But yeah, I just felt like they just had to shine a little bit.
Yeah, and like you said, I mean, you certainly know architecture way better than I do. I recognize a couple of the the styles that you just mentioned, but there's so much. Uh, I find okay. I'm just gonna say Victoria Street because I love driving down or walking down Victoria Street and seeing the houses on that street. But there's one in particular that I love, and I don't know if you've highlighted this one when you just said that about cottages. Do you know the little yellow house on Victoria? That I
Yeah,
think is my favorite house in Truro. I don't know the style or the age or anything like that, but I just love
yeah,
that little house.
yeah, exactly. So that would I have highlighted that. It was a while ago. It was one of the first ones.
Okay.
So that house is really close to my house, and super. People love those houses so
Oh,
much.
yeah.
There's also I can't remember if it's 99 Park, but anyway, somewhere on Park there. There's also a similar one to that, but it's got a little bit more of a Tudor
Okay.
influence too.
Yeah.
But people, every time I do sort of a cottage, especially like asymmetrical with a steep pitched roof
Yeah.
over the door, people go nuts. So yeah, totally. And then you've got the one right next to the yellow house, which is that super crazy, very
Really
unique
big.
art moderne place.
Oh, yes, yes,
Yeah.
yes.
So it's just really neat to be able to, showcase those. And I don't, I am no architecture expert by any means. But I think we all kind of know like what we like. And then the historic,
Totally.
um, Nova Scotia Historic Home website has so much information. You can kind of learn as you go just about, oh, okay, so this is typically what you'd see in like a Gothic revival with the three peaks. I really like that style a lot. And Queen Anne with kind of like probably not going to be a symmetrical home like a
Yes.
Gothic would be. They've got like often like one side that's really detailed, and got those really windows that kind of push out. So it is, yeah, it's fascinating.
And how do you choose? Like, I know obviously I'm sure personal preference is part of that. But how do you choose which spots you highlight?
Yeah, I mean the ones that are registered heritage properties have a lot more information on them,
Right.
so they are certainly nice to pick because you can find a lot of that information. Um, and then for businesses, like I do highlight businesses too. So, Clay Cafe, that was the first one I did. Enchanted Forest, just trying to think. I mean, HAF, Cooper's Cabin, both of which blew up, like went crazy, especially. And I mean, I'm not surprised about HAF. It's a really great store. I
It
mean,
is
it does not have it's you do not have to go to Halifax. You go to HAF and you can get whatever you need.
true.
So I wasn't surprised when that got a lot of response. But Cooper's Cabin, like it went, but probably the most popular post I have done. So, and I just
I
love
love
that
that
store.
place. I
Love
really,
it.
and I don't really generally have a reason to go there often other than my two nephews. I'll
Right.
often pop in there if I'm looking for Christmas presents or something like that. But
Yeah.
man, some days if I'm just walking by, I'll just go in and see Cooper
I
because
know.
it's just such a cool spot and they're so super friendly in there too.
So friendly and so great and so knowledgeable. Like my 10-year-old, it's just he's loves Lego and minifigures, and now he's into Ghostbusters. They are making a comeback apparently.
They are.
So yeah, so like he'll
My
go in
nephew said to
and
me the other day he wanted to dress up as the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man for Halloween, and I was like, "What? That's so amazing!"
I know it's good. They all come back, right?
Yes.
So yeah, I just go in there and I'm like, because for me, I've always been somebody who really values where my money goes. Like I really want to
Mm,
spend in a way that hopefully will benefit the people who own the stores and of course
yeah,
my community. So I'm not really big on Amazon, not really wanting to give Jeff Bezos any more money. I feel like he's doing okay.
he's doing all right.
So yeah, so I'd much rather go to a store locally in the community, and I feel like that's really important. So when I go there, I'm just like, yes, man, this checks all the boxes. Just such a great place. And obviously there's so many other great
Oh,
stores in Truro.
totally. And Carolyn has a question for you here, Jane. I don't know if you can see the question on the side there.
Nope.
I've often thought about researching my house at the Colchester Historium. Is that something that you have done?
Interesting that you asked that, because when I walk by on my way to work now, they have like their hours because they're back open, but they have
Yes.
the sorry, blanking on the word, the records, the
Archives.
archives by
Yes.
appointment, and I. So the answer is no, I haven't, but I really want to do that.
Yeah.
And so we researched our house when we moved to Truro, and for our first anniversary, which is paper, and the only time we have ever abided by the anniversary gift rule.
I don't think I ever have.
No, no. And I was a lawyer. I was going to the registry of deeds when it used to be in Truro.
Yeah.
And so I got my husband like our title search, which is super nerdy, but basically shows everybody who's ever owned our property since the time the
Oh,
lot was
that's neat.
created. Yeah. So, and we got our original deed and framed it. So I am super interested in that kind of stuff. Obviously, that's what I do
Yeah.
for a living too. And so that was, and it also when we were renovating one time, we found like an old piece of paper that had, it was like basically a bill of sale or an invoice or something for a general store from like our was built in 1871.
I
So
was just gonna ask
somewhere,
you that. Yeah.
yeah. So somewhere around that time. So they like, just put stuff in the walls when they didn't need it anymore. And then you find it.
Oh my gosh, isn't that cool? That's like for me, I love old homes. And when we were buying our house is not an old home at all.
Right.
We kind of balanced out the work that would potentially have to go in and our capacity to do that work. So
Well,
we ended up
absolutely.
going with newer, but we looked at a couple of older homes and
Yeah.
I just absolutely love them. And I'm looking on Remax, there's that another beautiful house on Victoria, that
Yeah.
large
The green one. Yep.
green house that's for sale. And I thought to myself, man, how much would I love to take a project like that on, but it won't happen.
Yeah. I know. I mean, you really have to. you have to be okay with things probably not being perfect. Things maybe even not being like super clean. Your house has accumulated a lot of, um, you know, grime
Oh,
over 150 years in
yeah.
certain spots more than others. Um,
Not necessarily level.
yeah, oh, exactly. Things like having to shim everything,
Yeah.
basically. We have had to do that. But that being said, like they don't build houses like this anymore.
Yeah.
Our floors are all the concentric hardwood that like goes into the middle in a circle.
Oh, nice.
Like the moldings are ridiculous. The baseboards are, this big. Oh, sorry, this big. Whereas in a new home, you're oh my gosh, my camera skills are not very good. You're
Well,
looking
it's
at,
a mirror image, so it's a
okay,
little
that's what's
complicated.
going on here.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, throwing me for a loop.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think you have to be. My husband grew up in an old home, so and he probably should have known better, and probably should have. Probably blames me a bit for wanting to be in an old home. I didn't really. Again, growing up there, our house was like from the 50s, I think. So again, kind of the worst of both worlds. Like
Yeah,
not
right.
new, but at the same time, not charming at all. So yeah.
That's funny. And you mentioned, I know Carolyn mentioned the Historium, and I
Mhm.
love the new series that they're doing
Me
where
too.
they do the before and after or whatever they're calling it, I'm not sure, but so holding up the photo of the old photo up to the new building and
Totally.
seeing the difference because I am from Truro, and
Right.
obviously a lot of the pictures they're taking are before my time anyway, but you kind of forget what places
Right.
looked like or what used to be there or whatever over the years. So it's cool to see that.
Yeah, I love that project they're doing too. I think that's really cool.
And even something you mentioned Clay Cafe, like, and we had Jamie on last week. Actually, she was helping us hand out our local love awards,
Mhm.
and even a place like that, like I saw a picture of Truro Pride, the first Truro Pride parade. We
Right.
entered for local love, and there's a picture of us taken walking in front of that building before it was the Clay Cafe building, and it was a blue house. You barely even
Yeah,
noticed it.
totally.
And now to look at it, it's like, holy smokes, the difference that Jamie did in just, a short time to make it
Yeah.
vibrant.
Yeah, and paint can go so far. I mean, paint is the cheapest and best way to just make such a big impact on your either the inside or the outside.
Yeah.
Um, like the Etc. building, right? Or I suppose it's not that now. It's oh dear, what's the name of that little place in there now?
Oh, oh gosh,
You
I'm
know.
forgetting. Yeah.
Oh, it's something with local in the
By
title.
Yokel.
Yes.
That's what it is. Yeah.
So that place is and I've profiled that one. So that the paint job on that place is just amazing.
It is.
So, when people use, like, I love it when people use a few different colors on their house. I would, I would love for there to be a little incentive for people who live in this part of the town. Yes, there's like an HST rebate if your property is a heritage property. But even more than that, I think if you're in the district, it would be really nice if you got a little incentive to return your property to its glory, or you met with somebody who's sort of from the Heritage Advisory Committee or something to give you a little bit of a instruction on, okay, well, these colors go really well together, and maybe you could
Yes.
do something like that. So
That would be so cool. I think about towns like Lunenburg when you say that, and you get
yeah,
to see all of the beautiful colors and that richness that kind of naturally comes out
yeah,
in all the old buildings.
yeah,
Yeah. And so I always look at houses online. Like I'm always on, Remax or Royal LePage or whatever, just kind of checking out what's out there. And I looked yesterday and I was shocked by a couple of the prices of houses right now.
yeah,
The market is absolutely insane.
yeah. Yeah, it is. So right now in September, we're way, way busier than we typically would in a September. Um, the spring, of course, was a little slower because of COVID. So, I think we've got a little bit of a rebound there. But I think just in terms of the market and the drive in prices, it's probably due to the fact that there are some people in the upper end of the market, like the more established older families who might be deciding instead of moving to an apartment or to a nursing home facility because of what's going on, they're going to try and stick it
Oh,
out in their
okay.
home a little bit longer.
Yeah.
And then, of course, it's a domino, right? So if you don't have those people leaving the market, you don't have as much room for the people coming in. Um, and then that just drives up prices. So we
Right.
don't usually see prices for overlisting. And we're seeing some significantly over. Halifax, of course, is seeing it even more than we are. So yeah, there's definitely, they always would talk about Toronto or Vancouver market and offers over and all that kind of stuff. But now we're seeing it here. So it's exciting for people who are selling. It can, I think,
Yeah.
I imagine, be stressful if you were looking because you'd have to really be on your game and ready to go when that house came on the market. And maybe it's a little hard for first-time home buyers. But I guess that is what it is. So we can't really do much to change the
And you
market.
can't really predict it either, I guess, right?
Right.
It's, if you are looking, and I feel like I had heard somewhere too that because of the pandemic, a lot of people are sort of moving out of cities or choosing to move out of cities. I don't know if you know that or have any
Yeah,
thoughts on that,
interesting.
but yeah.
I mean,
And maybe that was wrong. I mean, who knows where I saw it? It could be false information, but people kind of wanting to leave the higher
high
condensed
density.
areas.
Yeah, yeah. And whether those are people who are just going to their fancy cottages on the lake and
Fair enough.
or moving entirely. But yeah, I mean, certainly COVID has given people the, I don't know if you'd say the ability, but certainly the required opportunity to start working from home.
Yeah,
And once you do that, I think people are going to say, well, it's working just fine how it is, so I'm going to stay where I am.
yeah.
And so, yeah, whether they choose to move their home or it just means that they don't come downtown for work, which can be hard on businesses too, who depend on that lunchtime traffic and people stopping
Walking
at a
by
store
and
after work.
popping in and
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Walkability is really important for in business or brick and mortar places. So
Yes.
yeah, do
And of
worry a bit for
course,
them.
we talked a bit about this last week, but you mentioned in a post last week that you had highlighted the building that housed Novelty and King Coin in the past as well. And of
Yeah,
course, T&V, and I'm forgetting the name of the Kung Fu place that was in the basement, but and of course how sad it is anytime obviously anything tragic like that happens, but particularly in kind of the heart of our downtown.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. But again, like we see time and time again, people in this town are so willing and ready and eager to step up and help.
Yeah.
So I think it's so great. Obviously, it's a shame that it happened, I feel really bad for Vonda and Keith, especially, and every other business in there. But I think, I think they will recover, and I think people will be back ready to support them right away, just like people have done with COVID too.
Yeah.
Realize the importance of supporting those businesses as they try to recover from a really hard time. But yeah, double whammy for them this year. Holy cow!
I know, and you just think, "Are you kidding me?" Like, you're just sort of like, "Another?"
Yeah,
Yeah, it's insane. And
yeah,
you just reminded me too, because I know you're involved with the Rotary Club, yes?
yeah. I'm the president this year. Yeah,
Oh, you didn't have enough to do, so you
yeah. Thought I'd fill my plate. No.
I didn't realize you were president. I knew you were on or part of the Rotary Club, but because I know that that is an organization that helps so many businesses and nonprofits in the area, and I thought maybe this might be a good opportunity to plug your event that's coming up.
Yeah, I would love for you to plug it, or me to plug it. It's going to be really awesome. So Bollywood, we're still doing it, still
Yeah.
going ahead with it.
Which is
Um,
really, I think, and I had a brief chat because I know Alana Hurdle is still part of Rotary too, and I had a brief chat with her about it last week. And I'm so happy to see the Rotary, but other organizations too, continuing to try to make something work in this
yeah,
is new. I hate to say new normal because everyone's saying it, but I'm really happy to see that it's continuing.
Yeah, I mean, I think we'd have to realize that COVID is only probably going to make our organization more important. So we see people who, haven't been able to return to work or have been, their hours laid back or
Yeah.
cut back, or only one parent has been able to return to work or whatever. Um, so yeah, we're going to be still getting those requests probably more than usual. So yeah, we decided to go ahead with a takeout option. So I mean, it means that we won't all get to jam in one room together and
Yeah.
play fun games and listen to great music. But we would still love to raise the funds, which really is the most important part, so that we can give back to the community. So yeah, October 15th, 4 to 7 p.m.
What day of the week is that, Jane?
It is a Friday.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so it's a great opportunity to go to work, pick up your meal, take it home, warm it up, eat it with your bubble. And we're also going to have a silent auction that's going to it'll have started before the event, and that'll continue for a day or two afterwards.
Oh, cool.
So some things for people to bid on. Um, and yeah, I mean, the food is fantastic. So get
Did you
yourself
get to
some
do
of
a
that.
taste test of the food?
Do you what?
Did you get to do a taste test?
Oh, not like every other year, or not a taste test, just my knowing of how great it was from years past. But yeah,
Because
it's
I know I used to work at the Holiday Inn, of course, when I think it was the first year I was there at the Holiday Inn, and I was lucky enough to get a taste test of the meal, and I just remember it being absolutely delicious. I know the
yeah.
chef has changed since then, I think, who provides it, but yeah.
I think it would probably be the same chef. It's Raj Gupta from the Westin in Halifax.
Okay, you're right.
Yeah. So now he's involved with Scanway. Yeah, and his food is just amazing. And of course, another really good option for people in Truro is India Hut.
Yes,
If you're wanting to support a really wonderful local business, so that's available, of course, all year round.
yes.
Um, but tickets for the event are you can either find them on the Rotary Club of Truro Facebook page. There's a link to the Eventbrite page, or I have shared it on my Facebook page as well. So yeah, I would love to have people come out, and really good price and just a great opportunity to have a wonderful meal and support a really good organization.
And was there, I feel like I saw a reference to a movie as well. Is that just sort of recommending people watch a movie while they're eating, or?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we're going to send
Okay.
out a list of some Bollywood
Oh, cool.
films that people can check out, on their streaming platforms or YouTube or whatever. So yeah,
Yes. Okay, that's cool. Yeah, I've only made it to, I think I've made it to two, and I've missed the last two. So being the hermit that I am, this feels like it might be
it's
might be the
totally great for you.
opportunity for me to get back into Bollywood.
I hear you. Yeah,
Terrible.
I'm an introvert myself, so yeah, I'm more than happy to grab my food and come home and put on my jogging pants with my sari at the top or
That's
something.
right. Yeah, exactly. You can accessorize your jogging pants.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. And the other thing I wanted to ask you about, because I know you have I think it's part of the Bollywood event where you did like the plate
Mm.
fundraiser, but that won't obviously be able to happen this year. Is that right?
Yeah, the white plate special. So that has been sort of a segment of our silent auction that was geared exclusively to restaurants, giving
Oh,
us gift
okay.
certificates to auction off. So we kind of decided that this year we would totally acknowledge that restaurants have had a pretty big, have suffered pretty significantly through
Yeah.
COVID. So we decided to just leave that be for this year and hopefully come back to it next year.
Okay.
But
Because I
there will be a
know,
silent auction of other things.
yes,
Yeah.
right. And that's the thing. I mean, it's so hard because businesses have suffered so much in the last year, and you want to still, I mean, and ultimately that's supporting them too as well by offering that little bit of promotion or whatever.
Right.
But yeah, you're right. It's just such a hard time for
Yeah.
Businesses, particularly restaurants, like you said.
Yeah. And I mean, if people want to purchase a gift certificate from a restaurant and donate it to the silent auction, that would be awesome because it would accomplish both of those goals. So, even if maybe I know there are some people who, Indian food might not be their thing. They might not be able to handle the delicious taste and a little bit of spice, but
Yes.
no judgment. But if they want to participate, by doing something like that, we would always welcome that.
Yeah, that's actually a really good idea. And I find people don't generally think of that as an option when silent auctions happen. It's more so going to the business and offering or asking for the donation. But yeah, if somebody who has not been affected by the pandemic has some money that they want to spend on
Right.
a gift
Yeah.
certificate.
Or I mean, some people are even, seeing gains. So we would love for those people to,
Yes.
you know, to participate in that way. Yeah.
Sweet. Oh, that's cool. So you're still gonna wear your sari?
We'll see. Yeah, we'll see. We have to like direct traffic and stuff. So maybe
Oh, right, of
yeah.
course, because you'll need people to deliver the food.
Yeah, so it's gonna be a pickup at Glengarry. So, and the chef is great. They've already, talked with us about how they're gonna box everything up and have a whole slew of meals ready for us. So, but we'll have to just, meet the people in their car, ask them what they're having, go in and get it, and make sure we don't get run over. So there may be a vest involved. We'll
I
see.
hope I hope so, because it's starting to get dark early, so that would be
That's right.
in everybody's best interest, I think.
That's right. Wouldn't look very good for the event.
Oh my goodness, yeah. Well, and I'm just going back, sorry, I'm bouncing all around, but I'm just going back to your Instagram account because we talked about, of course, the novelty building. We talked about Clay Cafe. Do you have, or and HAF and Cooper's, do you have any other businesses that you are hoping to highlight in the next little while? Like, do you have a running list of what's coming up?
Yeah, I mean, I have Take It Outside. Like I have the pictures done. I just have to do the write up. Love that store, Take It
Yes.
Outside, and Stanfield's and the Trail Shop. So I think for now I'll just do Take It Outside. But great store, amazing products.
And great
ex-
history to that building too. Holy
Great
smokes.
history to that building. What a great, when I think when Margolian's closed, I know I was pretty terrified. That was a time when a lot of stores were closing.
Yes.
And so that made me pretty sad when that happened. But it's worked out so well. I mean, Above and Beyond is amazing. Truro Brewing is in there now. It's so great. So
Alderberry Village is in there.
yeah,
And then of course they're making use of all
yeah,
of the
Alderberry Village.
offices at the
Love
Sharon.
Alderberry Village, by the way. Like, what an awesome store. You can just get lost in there for hours.
Yes.
And so yeah, I mean, I haven't profiled Truro Brewing or Alderberry, so those would be good options. I have done Above and Beyond. Moments is another place that's amazing. I mean, the Sharons are the best. Been going there for a long time. The customer service there is just spectacular. Like, you go in
And
and they're
I
like,
feel like some businesses have really thrived. And I don't want to, I hesitate to call out any positives that have come out of the pandemic because
right,
obviously there's
right,
so much negativity and sadness around it. But um, some businesses I feel like have really thrived from that
yeah,
new attention to one-on-one service. I mean, certainly when you
totally,
go into Moments, you would get that one-on-one service anyway, but I feel like now where it's
yeah,
scheduled and it's
yeah,
so very and same with Elegant Steps too down
yeah.
the road. Like I feel like those places have really thrived in that environment.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And I mean, I think Truro Farmers Market is probably the best example.
Oh my gosh.
So they, I think there was discussion. I used to be on the board there. I think there's always been discussion about bringing a Wednesday market back in some form. But again, it was just so I guess that's sort of second to the fact that in the interim, the Saturday market became online ordering,
What?
which was like amazing.
I
So now
can't
you
even
can still do it on Wednesday.
begin. I can't begin to wrap my head around what went into
Yeah.
that shift
Yeah.
for them,
Yeah.
because it's one thing for a business to go online, and that's tough enough if you're not already
Yes.
there. And I'm thinking again about Elegant Steps because they had to do that same shift. Same with Jamie at Clay Cafe, just as two examples.
Right.
But like to think about all of the different merchants and vendors that are affiliated with the farmers market and
Yeah.
having to navigate through that, I can't imagine.
I know. I know. I can barely update my social media, and they created a website like with
Managing my own piddly little website is
yeah.
hard enough. I don't sell a single thing on there, but it's hard enough making sure it's up to date.
Yeah, no typos. Yeah.
And I'm sure there are typos. But Margaret, and of course, they won again last week for a local event,
Yeah.
which is obviously well deserved. And
Well deserved.
I've only been back just last week actually to the in-person market, only for my own, like I said, hermit style. But it's just so great to see it back in person
Yeah.
shopping too.
It is. And I mean, it's the place where you go and you can talk to the people who are literally growing your food from the ground. So it kind of blows my mind a little bit because
It's
I can't grow
wonderful.
anything. Houseplants is the extent for me. So, to go and have somebody, sell me the food that they grew all summer long. I just think it's so amazing. Every
It's
time I go, I'm like, this place
cool.
is the best.
It's so cool, and I killed my tomatoes this year, so talk about I
Yeah.
try every year, and I actually finally learned though, so I might try it one more summer. I learned that I overwater them. So I
Oh,
was thinking I wasn't watering them enough,
right. You can't win. Yeah.
which then you go and water more because 'cause you're like, "Oh, I'm not watering these
Right.
enough. They don't look very healthy." But I actually learned that I was overwatering them.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, so
2
next
years ago,
year
we decided, we're like, "We should just leave this to the people who know how to do it, and we will go and buy the food from them." So
exactly.
this year in,
It
like,
does feel good
June
though. If you like, I use my own herbs, which is probably the only thing
yes.
I'll ever be able to like, chives are amazing. They're so easy. So
Yes.
it does feel cool when you can go out and just cut them off and use them in your food, but
That's
yeah,
true.
I
Yeah.
might have to leave tomatoes to the professionals.
Yeah. Yes, just do it. Yeah. We buy lots of herbs from Hill and Dale Perennials, so they
Yes,
do so great. But yes, like chives will come back for you. They're pretty indestructible.
pretty hardy. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Like you said, I'll stick with houseplants for the time being.
Oh, man.
But yes, in the meantime, the farmers market, I just love it. And I'm so proud of Margaret and all of the volunteers that were
Yeah.
able to make that work and keep it hopping for people. Cause how tough would that have been to not have it?
I know, and these people who have stuff in the ground and they're,
Yeah.
depending on being able to sell it. Yeah, so I mean, I know every time we say pivot, we just think of like Ross and Friends, but really, that was a really good pivot.
Oh
And
my gosh.
I
Yeah.
mean, it's actually, I'm not a huge, as I said earlier, I'm not huge on online shopping, but typically because online shopping means that you're supporting,
Not
Jeff
local.
Bezos or whatever. But if I'm gonna online shop at the market, like, sign me up. I love it. It's amazing.
Yeah, it is very cool. Jane, we have a standard question that we ask every person we interview for these chats, and it's related to our awards. And of course, we gave this award out last week, which was your favorite place to show off Truro. I know this is probably going to be a hard question for you to answer because I know you love Truro so much, but what is your favorite if you have somebody coming in town and you're like, okay, this is the thing that I need to take them to or show them, what is that thing for you?
Mhm. Can I have a bio on this person? It's a
Yeah.
little dependent. So, like, I mean, and I'm not gonna say anything that hasn't already been said because really, I think we all have, a fairly good idea of what's amazing in this place, which is a lot.
Yes.
So it's not an easy answer to just pick one thing, but if it was, a family with their kids, I'd probably take them to the park. But I did have my friend come from Toronto, 2 summers ago, and I really laid out an itinerary. So, like, we in the morning went to Novelty and got a coffee, and then we went to Red Knot and got a croissant. By the way,
Mm,
amazing croissants and pastries at Red Knot. I don't know if people appreciate the fact that they're, as good as you get in Paris. So we'll just
they
keep that in mind.
are amazing.
Amazing. And then we basically just hit, like, I think we definitely went to Silver Mint. We went to Moments. We went to Above and Beyond. So I really do love kind of the downtown core tour for someone who would not necessarily think of Truro as a really good shopping destination.
Yeah,
Um, and I love to see the surprise on people's faces when they're like, "Oh my goodness, this is amazing!"
I
This
know.
or yeah. So, I mean, the park is fabulous, but you're not going to be able to explore the entire park in one visit. So I do really like the idea of the downtown and being able to just walk from place to place and show off all the amazing stores that are owned by all of our independent owners.
I totally agree. And we were happy that downtown took kind of second place to
Mm,
Victoria Park this year. We decided to give Victoria Park a Lifetime Achievement Award because there's no way that any place in Truro will ever compare to the beauty of Victoria Park. But
yeah,
that
and
downtown
again,
came up as a second was so awesome for me and I think for a lot of people because Truro is becoming a place that people come to, or it has become, I should say, a place that
yeah,
people, a destination spot to bring their kids to go skating in the winter or
yeah.
walk downtown or whatever that is. And that's so cool.
Yeah, and I probably should have highlighted the library too. I mean, what a spot. We just hit the jackpot on that, and then the Civic Square to just tie it all together and the farmers market being right there, like amazing.
Well, you talk about pride, and when you talked about, and it's true, the years ago when you would have moved here, and same with me when I moved back, there just didn't seem to be that pride. But just over the last 3 to 4 years or 5 years, there is that pride, and we see it a lot on social media, of course, because people are tagging local love Truro in their pictures, and there's so much just to go downtown and just take a picture of the library and
Right,
post it is pretty cool. Like that's showing that you're proud and you love your town. So that's
right.
kind of awesome.
Yeah, and I probably haven't really thrown out like the "This is true love" hashtag enough. I'm Michelle would she should give me many tutorials. I'm not great at social media. I don't know how to you know, get my hashtags out there for lack of a I don't even know if that's what you
Yes.
say.
Yes.
But that was something that, yeah, that sort of encapsulated it for me. I was like, okay, this is true love. This is true love. Like
Yes.
this is what we should have. So anyway, let's get it going. Let's get the hashtag going.
And
This
it's
is
cool
notice.
for people like you and say Alicia Truro Buzz to be carrying that torch a bit too, because you're not originally from here.
Yeah,
So it is nice to see that there's locals like us who've reestablished or established for the first time, depending, our love for our town. But to have people who've come from away and moved here and made it their own is super cool.
yeah. Yeah, and sometimes I think you need that. You need the fresh eyes. You need people to say like, "Hey guys, did you realize that you can walk to your golf course in the morning and hit
Yes.
a 9 holes and then walk to work?" Like, not you can't do that in many places, just so you know.
Yeah,
Because sometimes I
exactly.
think you don't realize what you have unless you've seen otherwise or
Yeah.
like I remember when there were parking meters on Inglis Place and they were 5 cents and it got you like 3 hours or something, and it
I
was so
forgot,
cool.
but yes, now that you say that.
And I mean, it's great that they're gone. But again, like coming from Halifax and like the parking situation is just bananas. And then
Yeah,
coming here and it was like, oh, I'm just going to pull up immediately in front of the store. Okay, I'm good. Like, so those are the little things that you
yeah,
never think are important. But then when you really, have a lifestyle and want to settle down somewhere, those are the things that matter. So
totally. No, I agree 100%. That's awesome. Well, I think that's a great place to end, Jane. Thank you so much for
thank
chatting today.
you. Yeah, it's come so
And
fast.
I'm just going to read real quick before we go, Carolyn. My walk to work, this is Carolyn Pierce, by the way. My walk
Yeah,
to
I
work
figured.
takes less time than my walk to the bus stop took in the city. That just
Totally,
says it all right there.
totally.
And if you don't have the train tracks to cross, then you're even luckier, which I
That's
don't think
right.
Carolyn does.
No, that's right. I don't think she does.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Jane. And
Thanks for having me.
I'll put a link to your page in the comments as well so people can check you out.
Awesome.
And thanks everyone for watching.
Thanks, everybody. Thanks, Sam.